Really good work up to the end there. You guys saw Manfield got hurt, so hopefully, that puts a damper on things. Hopefully he's okay. We'll take a look at it, but I think everyone's kind of shook up by that. It looked like it was rather serious, so kind of changed the mood of the entire practice. But they came out there focused and did a good job. So that's about it.
And changing of the mood, it upset you a little bit?
It upset everybody, yeah. When a guy that's as critical as Steven gets hurt, now I don't know if it's serious or not. Sometimes they don't end up being as serious as they look, but that looked pretty serious to me, so hopefully he's okay.
What would that take away from you guys?
Well, I'm not going to speculate because I don't know what the extent of it is yet.
Coach, when expectations are high and you have early season issues to deal with, how can that be helpful to the squad the rest of the year?
It shows you can go on the road in a tough environment and win. Our defense scored 3 touchdowns. Our special teams had a touchdown. It was called back by, kind of a rule that is in place, and it's for the safety of the player, but it really didn't affect the return. So it's got a couple of offensive issues we got to get cleaned up, but we're a good football team.
And it shows you can deal with all kinds of issues.
Yeah, we played a good team and we won. And the objective number one is always to win. You're always going to have things to work on. It doesn't matter if you win. I think back to a couple games last year when we played really well and just blew people out of the water. We come back and look at the film and go, God, we sure got a lot of things to work on, Same thing on Sunday. You come in and go, man, we sure got a lot of things to work on. So that's competitive athletics. Everybody knows that's competing.
When you rewatch the running backs in film, what kind of stood out to you, especially with Paul and
Perk ran really hard, did a really good job. I was impressed with Paul.
What is he doing now this year that maybe he didn't do in past years?
Well, he finished last year kind of like he started this year, this slashing type runner that can hit the hole and get some extra yardage. So hopefully he continues to build on that.
Coach, Kenny Clark had 8 tackles on the inside. Kenny Clark?
Yeah.
What kind of presence did he bring to the game?
He was a dominant force in there. He had a great game, and a lot of times that was fighting off a double. And he hit a double, and then the double would have to come off to the linebacker. When they'd come off, Kenny would make the tackle. For a nose, to make 8 tackles is probably unusual. Usually, it's the linebackers that are coming up and cleaning up, and our linebackers had a lot of tackles too. But I think he's a dominant force inside, and he's just getting better because he works hard every day.
What's it that Miles did in that game that was maybe a little different than the Miles we saw last year?
Nothing. He was more disciplined. He didn't just kind of play off of instincts, because he understands the defense better, but he ran around and made a lot of plays. That's what he did. He did exactly what he did last year, just with a little bit more precision.
I think Eric Kendricks was saying he was stronger in run stopping, especially.
I think a lot of that has to do with, the question about Kenny. It wasn't just Kenny, but it was Eddie and Ellis and Ely. Whoever those guys were that were playing inside, they did a really nice job. And when the double came off and got to the linebacker, they made the play. When the double stayed on them, the linebacker made the play. So they worked very well together, those inside guys and the linebackers.
Good example of how the whole defense can kind of trickle down from that line.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the run game. That's how it's supposed to work in the run game. It looked clean, and that's what you want.
Coach, there's always a certain amount of anxiety or excitement about the home opener. How will you keep them from being too amped up?
I think it's just about, maintaining a consistency of routine going into every game. We have a way that we practice, a way that we meet, the way that we work through those final 48 hours. We just stick to that, and it's always fun to go out and play in the Rose Bowl and play in front of our crowd, but the most important thing is we just focus and stay on our routine.
Is that kind of a tough test for Najee in his first game against some of the stats?
Yeah, it absolutely was. Yeah, you saw Najee through the course of the summer do a really, really nice job. I think that's sometimes just a measure of a guy. That first game when he struggles, he's been seeing the same things over and over he was here for spring and then through the summer, and then you get out there in your first game and it's all brand new to you. I was talking to Caleb yesterday about that, and Caleb got some plays in before he was thrown in as a freshman. Najee just ran in the first play and started playing, so there was really no warm-up for him. And, it showed that, he'll, like you kind of asked Jim, he'll grow from that big time, I think.
Of the guys who made the debut their debut on Saturday, anybody stick out to you?
I'm sorry, the first part of your question?
You had a number of guys make their debut on Saturday.
Oh, make their debut?
Yeah.
stood out for the positive or?
Any way you want to go with it.
Boy, yeah, you're forcing me to think. I'm not good when I have to think.
Kenny Young one.
Kenny Young, there you go. Throw me some names. Kenny Young did okay. You know, he had, I think, 19 plays on defense and some plays on special teams. He's our starter in Okie. You know, a 3-4 package. Not right now. Right now, he's not playing in the nickel, but he's capable of it. If we want to give EK some plays off, because EK played a lot of plays. But for a first game, he played pretty darn well.
How did Tahan look in his first start?
Tahan had some really good plays, and he had some plays where, you know, he needs to be a little bit better. But I love the way he plays, and he plays with a great energy and a passion, and he'll strike you. So it's just like everybody, you know, you're trying to get better every single game, every single play, every single practice, and I see that out of guys like Tahan.
Did you guys officially decide on a backup quarterback? I know we didn't get a chance.
We sure did, yeah.
Any interest in sharing?
No interest. All right, thanks everybody.